Hi, everyone. Welcome to this next episode of Future Finance Talks, which is a series of in-depth conversations with the CEOs, innovators shaping the next generation of financial technology, accounting, and digital transformation. Each episode explores how cutting-edge tools, technologies, ideas, and the leaders are redefining the way in which businesses manage their finances, their data, and growth in the digital age. Everything that really comes down to our mission as a business and as an event, which is ultimately to empower smarter finance functions and finance teams. Because if we're creating more transparency, more insight, then that unlocks better decision making, unlocks growth and profitability, and ultimately secures jobs, ecosystems, supply chains, and has a big impact on the economy. So that's what the Digital Finance Show is all about, and these Future Finance Talks podcasts as well. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome our guest on today's Future Finance Talk, Jonathan Sanders, the CEO of Light. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for your time. I know how busy you are. Jonathan, just for the people who are on the call who do not know about Light, can you give us a quick snapshot into the business, the size, and ultimately how you're serving businesses in the market?
Yes. And great to be here, Dan. Light is a company we founded a few years ago with basically the mission of building a platform for the finance professionals where they could scale their company globally and have a centralized place of control. So we are an AI native ledger for multinational companies. So you can run your US entities, your European entities, your Asian entities in Light. You can do consolidations, journal entries, but you can do so much more than that. You can also actually control and execute payments directly from the platform. So not only do you have AI agents to help you on the month-end closing, but all the way upstream on the actual data capture, you have AI agent help you correctly codify invoices, make sure that they get executed correctly in your banking system, and the bookings happen automatically from that point onwards. And we're in the position to help forward-looking companies like Legora and Lovable with their international scale on how to basically run everything from complex revenue contracts to reimbursements and bill payments and all of the analyticals in between.
So what's your sweet spot in terms of ICP, Jonathan? Like, what sort of size businesses are you going after? I'm guessing it's the big multinational businesses, right?
So that's a great question, Dan. So we start to operate with companies as early as maybe 50 if they are a well-funded, fast-growing company.
50 headcount, right? Just to be clear.
Sorry, yes, 50 FTEs.
Yeah.
50 FTEs. It's the easiest way of looking at it. And then we scale it all the way up to a couple of thousand employees at some of our larger companies. And the number one driver for all of the clients that we serve is basically that they are looking to either already present in multiple different geographies, or they are looking for a platform that helps them to scale into multiple different geographies and countries. And they're looking for a solution that can do that for them.
Right. Okay. And just give me a quick bit of background into the company, Jonathan. How long has it been running for, and
Yeah.
kind of headcount on your side and that sort of thing?
We started the company about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. We started it a bit out of frustration of being part of prior scale-ups. So I was part of two fast-growing companies out of the Nordics. And very early on in our journey, we needed to basically implement an Oracle NetSuite in order to scale our finance operations. It was a very painful journey. It took a year in both of the cases. But also, after we had implemented it, it didn't feel like a very powerful solution for our needs. It was basically just a reporting tool that we would ultimately just import into a different data lake and then do our advanced reporting in something completely different. And so that was the pain and frustration that caused us to build Light. There must be a better way of doing this. How can we make it fast? How can we make it intelligent? And how can we make it actually do more of the things that you need to do, whether that is subscription management or spend management, get that into a platform. We are 45 employees. We're primarily located in our London HQ, but we also have a presence in the Nordics, and we're at the moment setting up in New York as well.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Jonathan. And when companies are moving across to like Jonathan, what are the legacy systems that they are using? Like, what's the kind of pains that you're really solving by working with them?
So often what happens when you become a multi-entity or multinational company is you will be running on either a Xero or a QuickBooks and maybe a Dativ or Fortnox or what have you. And then you're looking to migrate into something else. Or we also convert people who have already migrated into either a Microsoft or an Oracle NetSuite solution. And I would say it's about 50-50 between the two of them. What we typically do though is we migrate them off of their Xero and or NetSuite, but typically also take away one or two other point solutions that they're using in their finance stacks to consolidate things. So they might have like an Approval Max or Dex or Spend Management solution, and typically they are also getting rid of those solutions in the migration over to Light.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jonathan. Jonathan, the way I kind of came across you guys was I was speaking to someone kind of who I really respect in the industry, somebody who kind of works in the accounting and finance tech space. And one of the things we were talking about all sorts of technology, and one of the things they said to me was, "You've got to take a look at Light. You've got to take a look at that." And then I kind of found you on LinkedIn, and we kind of started talking and stuff. So why do you think for somebody that's seen so many ERP systems and accounting and finance tech systems, why was he particularly excited about Light, do you think?
I think there's a couple of things that always been felt fundamentally broken in the finance sort of area. One of the things that we wrote about in our manifesto, which is on our landing page, anybody can go on and look at it on Light.inc, is the fact that you basically, in some sense, have a bit of a split in finance between the people actually doing the job, doing the operations, doing the analysis, and then the software. And is essentially in a lot of cases when it comes to ERP, a lot of how the software works and operates is completely outside of their control. And what we're trying to do with Light and the way that we built it and the way that we embedded, AI and way of modifying the product into the platform is to make it much more accessible for the sort of core finance team to be able to not only modify and change the parameters of the underlying software, the configuration, but also the way that we actually do configuration in legacy software. That will be a lot of maybe JavaScripts or HTML that you need to go through in with your consultants, and this is part of the onboarding process that makes that drag out for like a year is also their business model here. But one of the things that we really tried to do from the beginning is how can we make building a platform that is adaptive, that looks at your behavior and then actually incorporates that into the core decision making in the platform. So how can we make something that is actually like much easier to use, but also brings together both the payments, the cash side, and the accounting side of all your core operations. And we found that to create like a platform or a setup that is much lighter, if you will, than the quite heavy setup that you have in your legacy Oracle or SAP environment.
Amazing. Thanks, Jonathan. And you mentioned Lovable and one other business that completely escapes my mind now at the start.
Okay.
Talk me through kind of some of those success stories.
Yeah, so I need to stick to what is publicly known, right? So if you come to like a company like Lovable, it's obviously an extremely fast growing company. We had a quite quick 2-week implementation with them, but in those 2 weeks, they did like increase the number of entities that they had by 50%. So it was like a lot of things happening. So we needed to be able to support them with that. We needed to be able to also introduce them to partners that would be able to support them on a global journey. So we introduced them to our partners at JP Morgan that actually could help them basically on a global like scaling cash management side. And then that integrates seamlessly into Light so that they can also execute treasury and payments globally from the Light platform without needing to log into their underlying banking setup. So they use that, control multiple different banks underneath the hood, do the reconciliation, but also are able to do quite bespoke and complicated revenue recognition directly from Stripe. And the reason that it is complicated is just the scale of the operation makes most of Stripe's regular API endpoints completely unusable because we need to do this at a much larger scale than you normally do. So that's one thing. And the other one I mentioned, Dan, was Legora, which is a great AI company for legal side. And they are rapidly expanding across the globe. And we're here helping them with their Apex setup, their India setup, all of the EMEA operations, as well as the US. So it is really about like, how can we be there and partner with our fast moving and fast growing clients across the globe?
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Yeah, really interesting. Really looking forward to following those journeys and your journey as well. You recently raised $30 million fundraise, so congratulations on that.
Thanks very much, Dan.
What's kind of next for you guys? How do you plan on deploying that capital, and
Yeah.
how do you see the business growing over the next 5 years?
So we are at the moment hiring, and we are hiring across pre-sales, post-sales, anybody out there who maybe done an ACA and wants to do something different, or done an accounting qualification. We are scaling up our US presence to meet the demand in New York. And then we will also start to build up more of the global operations at Light, so we can actually be there from support around the sun to also having like local presence in each of the three core sort of markets that we operate in, which is across US, EMEA, and APAC.
Brilliant. And what's your vision for the business, Jonathan? Like, where do you see the business in 5 years' time, and what's the vision for the business over the next few years?
Yeah. So we're on the product level, we are extremely excited about the capability of AI. We believe it's a fundamentally changing technology. I think a lot of companies have tried it and have not have the right environment to set themselves up for success, either in process or people, or in the product that they're trying out. So we're a fundamental believer in that, and I think we're just in the first inning of the truly potential that lies in that category. We have done a number of things inside of Light, and we're continuously to invest and innovate into making Light as a financial product one of the first, what we think is a new category of adaptive products that will completely change the way that you interoperate with your software. You'll start to see your software being much more helpful, much more proactive in things, rather than you waiting for it to go wrong and then you fixing it. And just one thing, if any of your listener is looking into maybe exploring that in a pretty in an environment where they don't need to commit very much except from a couple of hours, we are doing a global hackathon together with McKinsey and Lovable. And if you go to light.inc, you'll see a banner at the top, and then you might be able to pick a city near you and come join us. We are doing this in London at the first events, and we are heavily oversubscribed, so there's no room there. But I do see if it comes back to a city near you.
That sounds good, Jonathan. And if anybody is listening and they'd like to reach out to you or one of the team to look into Light in a bit more detail, how do they go about doing that?
Yes, the easiest way is either to ping me on LinkedIn if you find me, or sign up on our landing page. And if you're looking for our careers page, we have a career page on our landing page, and there's also an email. And if you find something, or if you have a burning desire to work at the frontier between AI and finance and want to come and help us, just drop us an email. Even if your profile is not exactly listed on the number of jobs we have up there, we are always looking for great people to come and help us on our mission.
Brilliant. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today. Really exciting stuff that you guys are working on. Cannot wait to follow the journey to see where it goes. Congratulations on the fundraise. Thanks so much, Jonathan. Good to see you. Take care.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.